check this bike out. This bike is kind of a mystery. The seller of this bike said he bought this thing like 4 years ago. He bought it thinking that the kickstart was locked up, but the crank was bad. So he replaced everything, rebuilt the whole thing, and he said he could not get it to run. She does not want to go. Ooh. Well, that's not good. Look at that. This thing is just disintegrated. Not working. Jeez. Yeah, it's still smoking quite a bit. If you're not on it completely, it smokes a little bit. So we might have to tear this thing down and look at it. Alright, so we're back with the 2005 RMZ 450. As you guys know, I picked this thing up for $1,500 from a seller that owned it for 4 years and could not get it to run. So we found out the problem was the accelerator pump and the pilot being clogged. So the accelerator pump was completely disintegrated. Horrible. We replaced that, got the accelerator pump working, fired right up. So we got it to start and run. We took it to the land and it was smoking pretty good. I rode it for about 2 hours and it was still smoking. So when you have a new top end rebuild, it should not be smoking after 2 hours of riding. So something's going on with it. This has a brand new Athena cylinder there, and he said a Weisco piston in there. And he said he went through the valves, lapped them all in, and I'm sure he put new valve seals in too while he was in there. Crank was freshly rebuilt, brand new top end, and valves gone through, so I'm not sure why it's smoking. Really the only thing I can think of is that he installed the piston rings wrong, maybe, or installed the valve seals wrong, or didn't replace the valve seals, because it's smoking pretty bad. So today we're going to figure out and see what went wrong. But before we do that, let's fire it up one more time, make sure it's still smoking before we tear it down. So without further ado, let's get going on this and see what we find. Alright, let's see if she'll fire up today. It's been about a couple days since we last rode this thing. So as you can see, still smoking pretty badly. So definitely has something going on. That smoke is just not going away. Alright, so as you guys can see, this bike is smoking pretty excessively. Every time you blip the throttle, a big puff of smoke blows out the back of the exhaust. That should be way gone after 2 hours of riding this thing. And I let this thing idle for a long time today and let it warm up and it still smokes. So something, like I said before, is definitely going on with it. So what we're going to do today, tear it all down and see what's going on. So let's start with the plastics. We'll tear off the plastics, get the seat off. got access to the top end. That little gasket maker we put on there last video really held up. No oil was leaking out of there. So that worked out. We've still got that new gasket coming for that in the mail. I think now what we're gonna do is drain out this coolant. So right here is where we can drain it out from. We'll see what that looks like, and then we'll see what this oil looks like too. I'm wondering if the oil's milky now after the first ride. Pretty clear. Doesn't look like oil's mixing with it. So that looked pretty normal. All right, oil drain bolt is on the left side of the bike, right there. Doesn't look milky. Let's see it coming out of here. That looks pretty normal. Let that drain out. Doesn't look like a whole lot in there, to be honest. Looks like that's gonna take a little bit to drain. So we'll come back once that's drained out and we'll check that out, make sure there's no metal chunks in there, and we'll make sure it's not milky at all. All right, oil drained. So far it looks like everything's good. No chunks in there. So let's check the filter next. We're at the right side of the bike. Get this oil cap off. By the way, it takes 1,500 milliliters. Have the spring in there. Sometimes just pull it out like that. You can see that looks pretty good. K&N filter. No shavings whatsoever on there. Looks really good. No shavings on the rag after wiping it. So bottom end should be fine. Let's get this filter back in. Spring goes on here, like that. And then there's an arrow pointing up on there. That just goes there like that. Oil filter looks good. All right, there's that bolt. There's a really big Allen right there. Yeah. Get these lines out of the way. Carb needs to come out too. See what the spark plug looks like. See if it's completely black here. Yeah, it's pretty black. Spark plug is really black at the tip, so we're definitely burning oil. Or at least running rich. I think it's from burning oil, so that kind of confirms that. Cable off of here. That out of the way. These you want to go crisscross pattern. Loosen those up. Look good. No damage there at all, no rubbing. No damage there, no rubbing at all there. Those look perfect. All right, we can get these little mounts off. Those are attached to the actual head. one on the other side as well. Right here. That one was really loose on there. Millimeter. Right here. Of course that fell in the oil. Alright, so on the 2005 models, it came with a manual chain tensioner. Get this off. You can probably just take those off right away. Pretty tight either. Huh. Everything seems kind of like hand tightened down. Tensioner looks good. Just a manual one, so it doesn't really wear out. So now our cam chain should be pretty loose. Yep. Tie up the cam chain since we're not taking apart the bottom end yet. So we'll tie this up so the cam chain doesn't fall down, and now we can get the exhaust cam out first. This one's going to have the automatic decompression mechanism on there. You can see right here. And that's working. You can see it's springing back like that. A lot of times on these decompression mechanisms, the spring will come off. That won't spring back and it won't work. So that all looks good. Cam looks perfect. Sprocket looks good, no teeth are missing. So everything looks good on the exhaust cam. Intake cam coming out. Same thing, that one looks really good. No wear anywhere on the lobes. Sprocket looks perfect. So intake cam looks perfect. Now we checked these valves last video, so that's why I didn't check them. They were all within spec. So I'm assuming all the valves are perfect. And the buckets look good. No damage to the buckets at all. So we can move on to getting these bolts off. So there's a bolt right there, right here, and right there. So 4 bolts. And this head should come off. And then there's 2 Allens on the side. It's important that you take these off in a crisscross pattern. You don't want to warp the head at all, so we'll start with this side. Loosen that one up half a turn. Go to this one. Loosen that one up half a turn. And we'll just continue that process here. Alright, these all have washers on it. I believe they're all the same size. Let's see. Those washers are like stuck to the head there. We'll have to be careful not to drop those in. All right, all the bolts are off on the head. Let's see if this thing will pop off of here. I think we've got to bring it through the top here. Get your cam chain out of the way. Bring it right through the top. I think it'll fit. Yep. Oh, there's an Athena piston in there too. Looks really nice. See Athena piston and cylinder. Wonder what the heck was going on. Get the guide out of here. Cam chain. That looks like a brand new piston. So it's 95.45. So that is stock, I believe. Let's get the head gasket off. Head gasket looks perfect. Get this clutch cable off of here. There we go. I think that's the only one holding this cylinder on. Here. Yep. Let's go right through the top. The cam chain. I don't see any numbers on it. Oil ring is free, it feels like. Arrows pointing in the correct direction. Everything looks pretty good. Looks like there's a Wiseco crank in there. This should push out of here. Get the pin out. Alright. This rod looks like here. Zero up and down play. That feels good. Nice and tight. Barely any side to side. You can see this is Wiseco right there. Oh, it's actually a Wasner crank, not Wiseco. Wasner crank rod. So that looks really nice. So you can see zero up and down, a little bit of side to side. Yeah, everything looks perfect. I'm really happy it's not a Wiseco. Those suck. So yeah, everything looks really good. Alright, we've got the piston here. Let's see if he installed the rings correctly. So on this piston it's a little bit weird. There's only one top ring. And there's the oil rings. There's not a middle ring on this one. Usually that's like the thicker black one. There's no ring in the middle, which I looked up a picture and that's normal. So we're looking at the top ring here. I don't see any lettering at all on this thing. We're gonna take it off and look a little bit closer. Just trying to see if I can see a number or letter on there. And so far I'm not seeing anything. It's like an N. So we'll take off the whole ring and just kind of see. So this is the top. of the ring. Let's look at this and make sure there's no lettering here. Take a closer look. Take a flashlight. I think it's either worn off or not on there at all. I'm not seeing anything. We'll flip it around and see if there's one on this side. Alright, so I looked and looked for a number or letter on here stamped on the top, and I couldn't find any. So I'm looking at this ring a little closer, and there's actually like a little bevel. It's hard to see. Let's see if I can zoom in here so you guys can see it. See how the top of this has like a little beveled edge? See that? How it's not perfectly square. So the inside top of the ring has a little bevel, and that little bevel is supposed to be on the top, and that's how it was. So this ring was installed correctly, unfortunately. I thought for sure the smoking problem would be from the ring, but this was installed correctly. We'll take a look at the cylinder next and just see what's going on with that. But yeah, the oil rings look pretty good too. Everything's expanding and moving. Let's just see if they move here. Yeah, we'll take them off and check them out, I guess. And the ring gaps weren't lined up over each other or anything like that, so everything really checked out from when I wrote it, so not too many hours or anything. Yeah, all those were free. Everything looks perfect. It must have been the valve seals. But yeah, I mean, this cylinder is perfect as well. 0 scratches on there. I mean, it's immaculate. We'll quick test the ring gap here, just to make sure. Put the piston in there first. I mean, that's a really nice fit. I can already tell it's gonna be fine. Let's just see. Get this down in there. Yeah, ring gap looks perfect in there. What the heck? Gap right there. It's gotta be like 12 thousandths, maybe 14. It's smaller than 14 there. Yep, exactly 12 thousandths. So that's like a very tight ring gap for a 450. But yeah, that's perfect. So piston and rings check out perfectly, and there's obviously no cracks in the cylinder or anything like that. So yeah, it's got to be the valve seals or something with the valves. So let's check out the head. All right, we've got the head here. I'm not seeing any cracks or anything in the head. Everything looks good. We'll take off this gasket here. So this oil out of here. Down here, the valves look brand new. Everything was cleaned. I mean, they look perfect. Pretty much 0 carbon on here. So I'm assuming he changed the valve seals, but maybe not. So, draw a picture. Top. Bucket and shim. Shim looks good. Size 2.45 on the shim. Put that bucket there. what the shim is at. 2.45 on that shim as well. .45 on that shim. About 2.45 in this one too. .4 on that shim. So these are KPMI valves. Looks like at least the valve springs. All right, we'll start with the exhaust valves here. Get those out. See if there's any oil on them. Pop free. Pins come out. Can't think of anything else it could be. Rings are perfect, piston's perfect, cylinder's perfect. Absolutely bone dry on that valve. Not leaking any oil. Oh boy. Did we tear this all down for nothing? Alright, let's see what this one looks like. Pretty dry. Not seeing any oil on there. Okay, those have some oil on it. Check this out. See that like glossy look? Yeah, those definitely have something on it. Appears to be either gas or oil. I think that was a little bit of oil on there maybe. So maybe the valve seals on the intake side are bad. Let's take a look. Those are the blue ones though. See that? See if the seat has any oil on it. It's hard to tell. Yeah, it kind of feels like oil on there. Alright, let's see if this one has an oily substance on it. Yeah, you see how shiny that is? Let's see, get my finger. It's definitely like an oily substance. Doesn't feel like gas. So I think the intake valves are leaking. That's pretty oily. Huh. Definitely oil on it. Alright, we're just making sure all the valves are straight here. We're putting in a drill. No wobble to that one at all. That one is perfectly straight. So that intake is good. Check the next one. No wobble at all. So that intake is good. Exhaust valve is perfectly straight. Perfectly straight. Alright, we filled this up with some brake cleaner right by the valve seal there. So you can see it kind of moving around in there. That fluid. And then we're looking through right here and we're seeing if any fluid drips through. So far, not a single drop has gone through. So that all looks really tight. All right, let's just take these valve seals off and see if we can determine what's causing a leak here. That one came off, kind of broke that one. That one I broke off there too. These aren't coming off super easily, but they feel a little brittle to me. They're kind of keeping their shape when you push them in. Almost like they're kind of older ones, but we'll see. I messaged the guy, so we'll have to see. Another thing people mentioned in the comments was the breather from the engine right here. They said maybe that was clogged, making the oil pressure really high in the engine. So let's just see if that was clogged or not. All right, here we go. We're just gonna blow through it. Yeah, it blows through. So it wasn't clogged. All right, so another possibility was the pipe had some oil in it. But if you look in there, it's all completely dry. Not a single speck of oil in there. And I took that off to confirm, but yeah, completely dry. Header pipe as well. See that? Super dry. And not much carbon. All right, finally heard back from the seller. So I said, hey, do you remember if you changed out the valve seals on this bike? Right now it is smoking and I'm trying to figure out why. And he responded, I don't believe I did. So I think we can determine that the valve seals are the culprit. That's the only thing he didn't replace, it seems like. And we saw some oil on the intake valves. So I'm guessing that's what it was. So we are going to order up new valve seals. I ordered up a new gasket kit. We had to go with the Vertex gasket kit, which was like $58 just for the top end kit. kind of a bummer. The top end kit he installed was $500. So for the piston and the cylinder and the gasket kit, he paid $500. So that's a pretty good kit. And then for the rod, I'm sure he paid a couple $100 for that too. So he has quite a bit of money into this thing. Plus he shaved down the head. So he probably has well over $1,000 into this. But we'll order up a couple new parts for it, get those new valve seals installed. This thing should be good to go, and hopefully no more smoking. So that will be next video. Hope you guys enjoyed the teardown on this thing. And I'm hoping the valve seals are the problem. If not, we'll have to investigate some more. But I'm pretty sure it is, since the piston, ring, cylinder, all those things checked out perfectly. Rod is fine. Breathers are all open. Everything looks great on this thing, except for those valve seals. So I'm pretty sure. If you guys have any suggestions in the comments, let me know. But I think we're headed in the right direction with replacing the old valve seals on this thing. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video. And until next time, we are out.